Welcome back. I am joined by a reeling Mike Stone tonight, in pain because of the way his American University basketball team went down today at the wire against Lafayette.
They lose on a triple with less than a second left. I'm crushed.
That is
Their
painful.
season is over.
I know, just like that, a dream is crushed. But thank you for making the trip in nonetheless.
Oh, that's okay.
And it's that time of year where the tournaments are upon us, and as we look at the Big Ten tournament, Michigan State in the very unlikely and unusual circumstance of having to play on Thursday just to get to Friday. Your thoughts coming out of yesterday's game and what we're looking forward to this week?
Well, first of all, yesterday's game was exciting at times, but not to be a jerk about it. Basically, you had two average to above average teams playing us. I don't think either team is really that good, Michigan or Michigan State. Obviously, you have to give Michigan the edge because they beat State twice. I think in the Big Ten tournament, as far as getting in, if Michigan State wins against Iowa, I think they're in. I think Michigan, unless they get killed by Illinois, I think they're in as well. So I think chances are both teams will be in. But you never know with Michigan State. They could completely, go crazy and lose to Iowa again. You wouldn't think so since they beat them by, 20 or so earlier this week, but you never know.
It's so unreal, though, to see this team each and every game almost following the same script. Obviously, there's some games that they won, like the one against Iowa at home the other night, but when they struggle and they lose, it's because they start slowly, they don't hit shots, they get knocked out of rhythm, and the whole game, they're just trying to get themselves back into it.
And they have no inside game, which is Draymond Green yesterday. Did he think he was like in an NBA three-point shooting contest? Take the ball down low. I know you missed some layups, but he was just taking threes, fouling guys on threes that really hurt. A guy who's usually a smart player, he messed up. Kayla Lucas didn't show up till the second half. Keith Appling played good in the first half, and they're getting nothing from any. Summers at least is playing okay, but they look. Even if they do make the tournament, they're one or two games possibly. Michigan, on the other hand, they play with a lot more energy than Michigan State, and Darius Morris. We'll get to the end of the game later, but he still has to. He dribbles too much, but I'm telling you, and Morgan. Jordan Morgan played really, he didn't have a lot of points. He's the X factor in that team. That kid, red-shirted last year, very smart move by Beilein, and now he's playing really well. And, they have the outside now, they have the inside, and they're tough.
Which plays back to something you just pointed out about Michigan State, is they did not take advantage of when Morgan was out of the game with 4 fouls. I figured if nothing else, put Payne back in the game, team him up with Green, try to take advantage of that opening in the paint. And MSU didn't do that, and that's the kind of stuff that they have done in the past, which is what I found surprising.
The problem is guys like Payne and Nix basically can't do the job right now, and that's hurting Tom Izzo.
When you look at Michigan, think about who they've lost to. They're 8-3 since they had that win against MSU late January. Lost to OSU on the road. Understandable, #1 team in the country. They have the 2-point loss to Illinois and the 1-point loss to Wisconsin. It can be argued, though you say they're an above average to average team.
Right.
They're one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and let's see what they do in Indianapolis, and maybe they can put a run together. And I think they're in already. Do you think they're in already?
Unless they get completely blown out by Illinois, but I think they're in.
You wanted to talk about the end of the game. It's a subject that should be brought up. I don't have a problem with it.
No.
The players didn't seem to have a problem with it, but the head coach of Michigan State steps up and makes it an issue, which will carry over into next year.
Which is good, because this really hasn't been a rivalry for a long time, and maybe it's kind of good from a fan's perspective that Tom Izzo got a little fired up about it, whether he was, this is a rivalry now, whether he just did it for the heck of it or he really means it. I just think he was really upset with the way his team played. And, Darius Morris talked a little trash, but, Michigan State guys have talked trash for a long time. They've rubbed it in a little bit as well. History goes back and forth from the Fab Five to what they did to the S back on the Breslin floor years ago, to Michigan State with Cleves when they beat Michigan by like 40 points at Breslin. So it goes back and forth.
Not the Stonehead of the Week, though. That honor goes to someone who's probably been deserving of this once or twice before.
Yeah, and it's somebody that is not going to be basically talked about or talked to in an ESPN documentary a week from tonight. Chris Webber, you're the Stonehead of the Week. Why Chris Webber? Because Jalen Rose, his production company, and ESPN, have put together a documentary on the Fab Five. Jalen obviously was in it. Jimmy King, Juwan Howard, Ray Jackson. Chris Webber wouldn't talk. Jalen Rose is supposed to be one of your buds, and he asks you to be in this thing, and you won't talk. Steve Fisher and Perry Watson talk. You don't talk? Who the hell do you think you are, Chris Webber? Oh, I know who you are, a Stonehead.
That is Mike Stone. You can hear him Monday to Friday, bright and early in the morning. He's headed home for some sleep right now, and we all will be watching that documentary next week. Sans Chris Webber. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this with another touching story from the Kronk Gym. Don't go away.